Welcome back, guys. X Collectibles back again with another video. And on today's video I will be talking about the different types of Pokemon products that the Pokemon company releases, and we are going to analyze each and every single one of them, right? And analyzing how good these products are, how good they are for long-term investing, and whether you should pick them up or not, depending on your current circumstances, your budget, or whatever it may be. So let's get right into it with our Pokemon product analysis. Little PowerPoint. So as we can see, I'm going to be talking first about the single pack blister, and it's got a promo in it. And I've categorized basically all these in one, which I will cover why in a second. These are the free pack blisters. It also comes with a promo. You've got the sleeved booster packs, which look quite nice, and I've also decided to group the build and battle boxes with these other products as well. So I'm going to be explaining basically the pros and the cons of each of these products, and I'm going to be grouping these products that I've just shown you into one. I'm explaining the cons and the pros. So let's start with the cons. So they are statistically and in terms of a return on investment perspective the weakest items to invest, and they lack significant collector interest and value, primarily because the design isn't really that enticing. I would say the exception are the sleeve booster packs, because they do look quite nice. If you do manage to actually hang them up in a peg in your wall, they actually look surprisingly nice, and they are extremely storage efficient. But yeah, they go up much slower than the bigger items. So you know, typically the booster boxes and the ETBs, they all go up in price a lot faster and a lot more vigorously than these products. And so what else? They are also quite easy to reprint en masse. So basically, these products are easy for the Pokemon company to keep printing out for children and casual collectors to get their hands on. Obviously, the low entry price to buy these products is very appealing for a lot of budget collectors, and especially in hard economic times, when people don't have much money to spend, they're going to be gravitating to a lot of cheap products, and these are perfect products for people to get into as a result. Another con is that the promos rarely tend to be good for the blisters. So you know, the blister promos, they tend to be quite lackluster, because it's not a full art. The promo is not a full art, as you can see. The arts, and you know, you can't really appreciate the Pokemon much as a result. And it's not something that collectors are really chasing, to be fair, unless it's like a really top tier Pokemon, like maybe a Charizard or an Umbreon, etc, etc. So what are the pros? What are the few pros of these items? So they are extremely space efficient, easy to store, which is obvious. And they have a very cheap price point relative to the bigger items. So if you're someone who's, you know, very short on storage space for whatever reason, has a very small budget, and doesn't mind waiting years upon years to realize their investment gains and eventually sell them, well, this might be the product for you. But there's a lot more better products out there, and I'm going to be covering them next. So yeah, the next product I will be talking about are the Pokemon Elite Trainer boxes, like my good old friend here, Mr. Destined Rivals. This is one of my favorite ones. Very cool Team Rocket theme and design to it, and it's got a really cool Wobbuffet promo, which I really like. So what are the pros for these types of items? Well, this product has has quite large collector interest and value. It is the item that is sought after, right behind the booster boxes. And its design is, I think, by far the most appealing to display. They look really nice on shelves, and they are very, very easy to because the design actually covers a large surface area, so you can actually appreciate it for what it is, and they are very easy to, you know, display on shelves, and yeah, it's very, very nice to look at. It is these, in general, it is the second fastest item to go up in price behind booster boxes and Pokemon Center ETBs, which I'll be covering both of these quite soon. So you won't have to wait quite long to see returns on your investment when it comes to these products. It also greatly benefits from having an exclusive sealed promo, which adds extra value. The promos included in these Elite Trainer boxes typically are full art. The artwork is very appealing, and if it's a very popular Pokemon, it's the value of the promo itself is going to be very high, so that's going for it. The liquidity on this item is quite reliable. They are quite sought after, even if it, you know, goes over 3 times the retail price. Liquidity is reliable even if it's short, even after it's finished printing. It's a very solid and well recognized collector item, so people will be chasing these alongside booster boxes for years to come. And believe it or not, another pro of this product is actually the fact that it gets limited reprint, as many components of the Elite Trainer box are actually manufactured in different parts of the world. If I'm not mistaken, I think things like the sleeves and the dice are actually produced in Chinese factories, and then obviously the cards themselves are printed in the US. So obviously they have to coordinate, you know, quite a lot of components at the same time. They have to make sure that, you know, both sides of the world are, you know, managing to get these components at the same time ready to be able to put them together into one product. So, and as a result, to make a mass reprint of this is quite difficult. Typically the first wave is going to be the by far the most largest wave, and then if it gets a second or a third reprint, the reprint quantity is going to be significantly smaller than the first wave. So that's also to bear in mind. The last pro I've got is that it has a much cheaper price point relative to its booster box counterpart. These are typically retail for about £50 to £60 in the UK, at least. I think in the US it's probably like $50 to $60. I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not from the US. And the booster boxes, as we know, the MSRP on these have increased by 50% post surging sparks onwards, thanks to last year. They've increased in price to about £150, which is like $180. It's absolutely insane and ridiculous, but you know what? Pokemon gotta make their money, and so it's a really good alternative to booster box price wise. And I would say the very few cons of this product is that it does kind of take up quite a bit of storage space. If you don't have a lot of storage space at your disposal, you know, buying over 50 of a particular product, you know, you could be scratching your head, like wondering where you're going to put these and store these for a period of, you know, months and or years for them to appreciate in price. my wardrobe is already at maximum capacity with all the EDBs I've been stocking up to this at this point. So I've got to be wary of that myself. So it's just something to bear in mind. And the last con I would say, or very few cons of this product, is it's quite easy to accidentally rip the seal on the side. So if I show you, you can see the ETBs, the plastic is quite frail on the sides. If you poke it, if you poke here, or scratch, or make the ETB fall by accident, it can very easily tear that seal, which is very important, as when you do want to resell this product, you want it to be sealed, so that collector is happy with the item. And it would obviously just it would make it so the product loses significant value. If so, that's why I would recommend, like, maybe for expensive ETBs, to maybe provide it with like acrylic casing or plastic casing, just to protect it, in case to protect it from wear and tear and falling damage. So yeah, that is something to consider. The next product I'm going to be talking about is the 6-pack booster bundles, and I've decided to showcase 151, as these are going to the moon at the moment. Let us see and discuss what I think about this product. So it's got quite a lot of pros going for it, as this product is actually it's getting a growing decent collector interest. And for example, if we're talking about booster bundles, and I do believe that they kind of stopped printing this product, but a good a very, very high end collector item that is emerging at the moment is the booster bundle case. So for example, I've got myself a 151 booster bundle case, and I believe it's got 10 of them inside, and it's fully sealed. That's a really, really sought after collector item at the moment, and it's only increasing in popularity. And another pro is its design and aesthetics is not bad at all. I mean, even one single booster bundle, it's got like a nice little box square design. You can see the Pokemon set logo and design on it, which is quite nice. It's not that bad at all from a aesthetic point of view and design wise. I would say they are the third fastest item to go up in price, behind booster boxes and ETBs. So what it is with the what it is generally, and what we've seen lately, is that booster boxes are the first items to really go up in price, followed by the Elite Trainer boxes. And once these two items are actually getting very hard to obtain at a good, reasonable price, then what people do, a lot of investors and collectors do, is they start targeting the booster bundle cases, if the set has booster bundle cases, or just single booster bundles, as these are contain extreme value. It has a sealed casing around it, and it has good price appreciation. They have very good storage efficiency, so you can cram like thousands in a little area in the corner of like your room, and they will not take much space, if at all. And so that's actually a lot better storage efficiency than I'd say it's probably the most storage efficient item out there. If you are a serious investor, I would definitely recommend to get your hands on these booster bundles if you're tight on storage. Another pro, it has a much cheaper price point relative to its Elite Trainer box and booster bundle counterparts. And despite this, and despite having a cheaper price point, it's already showing good signs of appreciation. So for example, the 151 booster bundles, they've recently been going up quite a bit. They were retailing at about £50 in the UK, and right now they are at right about £150. for lowest on eBay. So as we can see, this is a return, or a very, very healthy return of 300%. And I don't know if if I was someone who had an investment and it went up 300%, I would be absolutely sky high about it. I mean, how many stocks can do something like this in a matter of years? I don't think any could, to be fair. Only in Pokemon. So let's talk about some of the cons of this product. It's not quite widely recognized as a collector product yet, especially the single booster bundles. It's getting up there, but long term, we don't know if people really consider this a collector product and something to really, really chase in the future. So long term value is a little questionable since they're quite new, but so far not too bad. There's quite a lot of growing collector interest in this product. Another con is it's easy to reprint en masse. So like the blister packs and the sleeve booster packs, it's actually a very easy product for Pokemon to keep reprinting whilst the set is in print. So so this is expected to be reprinted quite a lot. There's going to be a lot in the market for the first, I'd say, year or two of the product release. So prices can stay quite low for its in-print years. So that's just something to bear in mind. And I think these kind of products will be a lot better to invest in within, I'd say, a year or less before the set is actually going to go out of rotation, which means out of print. So it's something to bear in mind. Liquidity issues potentially if it gets too expensive. So, question I ask myself is how many people are going to be willing to pay $200 or more for 6 booster packs in a square box for a booster bundle? Those are genuine questions. I think there will be some demand for it, regardless of that. Regardless of the pricing on these getting to this amount, but whether how easy they are to move or not, we shall find out in the future. And also its design and aesthetics are not that bad, but my question is, would collectors want to display this instead of a sleeved booster pack, ETB, or booster box? In terms of design, I think they rank about in fourth place behind booster boxes, ETBs, and sleeve booster packs for displayability. So just something to bear in mind for the collector interest long term. Right, I'm going to be covering booster boxes, and as a perfect example, I'm going to be featuring a lovely, beautiful Evolving Skies booster box. Yep, picked this up at MSRP back in the good old days, and I'm proud to say it's still with me. So let's have a look and dissect why booster boxes are such an awesome item and should be part of your portfolio. So let's look at the pros. It is recognized as the king product of Pokemon investing. When collectors look back at, when collectors want to collect something to do with a Pokemon set, the first thing they think about is booster boxes. Booster boxes, booster boxes. That's why they're the first item to keep going, to spike up out of all other products. And part of that is because the design and aesthetics are quite nice, to be fair. Especially if you get it in nice acrylic casing. It does enhance the displayability of the product. Yep, as I have stated, it is the fastest item to go up in price and can reach the highest return on investment multipliers. So they easily reach 500 plus pounds for good sets. Great examples: Evolving Skies, Destined Rivals, Cosmic Eclipse, Team Up, and how they evolved eventually. So the list goes on. It has very good storage efficiency, especially if you get them in cases of 6. So these are actually quite easy to stack on top of each other. in narrow spaces. So you're gonna get very good storage space for your buck. Liquidity is always and always will be reliable for booster boxes. There will always be collectors chasing booster boxes from good sets. It is the premier collector product, so liquidity is not an issue at all for these for booster boxes. Another pro, it doesn't get printed as much as other products, and it's been recently very noticeable. The reason why I think the Pokemon Company doesn't really print so many booster boxes as compared to the other smaller items is because booster boxes, because they have such a high initial MSRP price point. Before it used to be 100 pounds or dollars, which was still quite pricey. Now it's 150 pounds or dollars. The fact that these prices are so high, it means that a lot of people, a lot of budget collectors and people enjoy the hobby struggle to afford these, to be fair. So it's something that doesn't get sold near as much as like the smaller items, which makes complete sense, to be fair. And so that means they are very fast to go up. If you buy on bulk on release, if you buy en masse on release from a good set, they're going to be the first to go up if the set is good, which is actually good for if you're an investor and you know how to work your way around the markets. So yeah, as I said, return multiply is much better than Elite Trainer boxes and booster bundles in similar time frames, about 3+ years from release. So a great example is our friend Evolving Skies booster boxes. They were retailing for £100 at the time, and now they are selling around 2,200 eBay lowest. So that's a whopping 2,100% on your money. And if we compare it to the Evolving Skies Elite Trainer boxes, retailing for £50 at the time, they are currently right now 450 lowest on eBay. So that's a return on investment of 800%, which is still absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it just is nothing compared to the booster boxes, as we can see. The very few cons of this product is it's easy to accidentally rip the seal. So they are very frail, like I've stated with the ETBs, and they need acrylic casing protection, especially if the booster box is at least £250 or more, because, you know, imagine ripping one of these booster boxes by accident and your value just goes down the drain. I mean, you will have to sell it for maybe 75% market price if that's the case, which is quite a bummer, to be fair, and will affect the liquidity for the item. And yes, of course, as mentioned, it has an expensive price point relative to Elite Trainer boxes and booster bundles, but I think it's very well worth the price for what you're getting. So that's booster boxes for you. And next item I'm going to be talking about is the UPCs, the Ultra Premium collections. These are, you know, these are very either they are either very set specific or quite a miscellaneous, or they can be sold as a miscellaneous product in the form of, for example, the Charizard Ultra Premium, which has a ton of different booster packs from its expansion or set era. So let's have a look and see what I've come up with. So the pros of investing is that it has high collector interest. These products are very lovely. They have very gorgeous designs for the most part, so they're very nice to, you know, display. They have a very appealing design. It is, and I would say it is a very also unique product, because depending on the UPC, it can contain like special promos, can contain good pack variety and exclusive merch. For example, in this Prismatic Premium Collection with the starring the Espeon and the Umbreon, you can see it. Not only does it come with packs, but it comes with sleeves. It comes with Pokemon pins and a figurine. So plenty of cool stuff there for collectors and casuals to enjoy. And another pro of this item, it's got very limited reprints. primarily because there's so many components going into this one product. For that many components need to be put in the product in order to actually sell it. So yeah, what are the cons? It takes up a lot of space, especially if you're buying in bulk. It is the item that takes up the most amount of space. So if you are very storage, if you lack storage capacity, and are storage sensitive, is not an item you do want to buy loads of. Another con, it has an expensive initial price point. It's nearly as much as a booster box, I think. So it's something to bear in mind. And the reason why the expensive initial price point may be an issue is because the ROI potential just doesn't exceed booster boxes or elite trainer boxes consistently, at least not proven yet. I believe the Charizard the UPCs, if you bought them at MSRP, they are about 5 times. But if you buy ETBs at and they're about £50 retail, then these can easily you can easily make 800% returns instead of 500% returns. So the return multiplier is still much lower than booster boxes and elite trainer boxes, so something to bear in mind. But if we're talking 10 plus years, maybe these will definitely catch up with and exceed booster boxes and ETBs. We shall find out very soon. The final product I want to talk about is the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. And now I've shown my Ascended Hero Pokemon Centers already, so I'm going to show you my newest edition, which is the Mega Evolution Pokemon Center ETB. Absolutely stunning design. It's got a black background with Lucario, one of the nicest products I've ever personally owned. So let's talk about the pros. It has very large collector interest and value. I'd say quite a bit more than its regular ETB counterpart. And that's largely because it gets very limited reprints. The initial wave and maybe another one, and that's it. And not only because the components of the ETB are manufactured in different parts of the world, as with the regular, but also because it's Pokemon Center exclusive, and Pokemon Center makes it exclusive to themselves, and it intentionally it designs them to be scarce. So it is by far one of the best collector items alongside booster boxes. It greatly benefits from having an exclusive sealed stamp promo, like the ETB. And it's arguably the second fastest item to go up in price behind the booster boxes. Once the booster box items are depleted, as in they have shot to the moon, the second fastest item usually to respond is the Pokemon Center ETBs, because they are also very, very scarce. In terms of in terms of how much it has been printed and how many are actually available in the market. So, and I'd say another pro is that it has a much cheaper initial price point relative to booster boxes. If you want to save, I don't know, say, if you can get these on the Pokemon Center, you're buying at MSRP, which you can't beat that price. But say you want to purchase them from the secondary market, you may be paying only about £50 more than a booster box when both items are released, when the set is released. So it's significant. It has a significantly more affordable price point than the booster boxes. So what are the cons of this product? So liquidity could be a concern because it has a high price, and the fact that it has more competition, especially main sets from booster boxes, make it so if both, say, a main set has the booster box and the Pokemon Center ETB, a lot of people are going to rather have the booster box than the Pokemon Center ETB. So initially and long-term wise, there's can be competition between the two products, but I don't think that's a huge concern. Another con is that it takes up quite a bit of storage space, like the ETBs. Takes up quite a bit of storage space, so you've got to keep that in mind. And as with the regular ETBs, it's quite easy to accidentally rip the seal on the side. So if you're afraid that you're gonna easily make you're gonna store them somewhere where they're easy to rip, make sure to get plastic or acrylic protection so you can conserve the product nicely. So what are my final recommendations from my extensive analysis into the Pokemon products? Firstly, I would completely avoid blister packs and build and battle boxes as an investment. The return on investment on these and the fact that you can sit on them for multiple years with little to no return and a very lackluster liquidity level is not worth it, in my opinion. I would completely avoid these for investment purposes. I would, however, consider picking up some sleeve booster packs as a budget option if you do not mind waiting a couple years and not in a rush to sell in the future. So, special mention to sleeve booster packs in that regard. I would 100% prioritize booster boxes on release from good sets, and so you can have a fast initial return on your investment. Or I would grab PCTBs from strong special sets on pre-orders as well, which are very reliable for long-term growth as well. Those would be my priorities when a set comes out. If the booster boxes are too expensive, consider purchasing the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes or Elite Trainer boxes if they're at a good price. And on the off chance you're too late for either, or storage space is a concern, then booster bundles are usually the most budget-friendly option in relation to the other two, and will still provide you a very strong return on investment. And finally, ultra premium collections can be bought as part of a balanced portfolio, but you got to bear in mind they do take up quite a lot of storage space. So guys, what do you think about my analysis on the different Pokemon products that come out with each set? What's your favorite one? Which ones do you believe in the most? Any questions? Comment down below. We can have a discussion. So yeah, this has been X Collectibles, and I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.
Oh God, no prismatic evolution packs, really? You said you were gonna have them online. This is ridiculous.